Imagine waking up tomorrow morning and realizing you'll never have to sleep again. Not because you had an extra cup of coffee, not because scientists invented some miracle pill, but because the biological need for sleep had simply vanished. Forever. No exhaustion, no drowsiness, no falling asleep during class, at work, or halfway through a Netflix show. At first, this sounds like the greatest upgrade in human history. After all, the average American spends about one-third of their life asleep. If you live to be around 75 years old, that's roughly 25 years spent unconscious. 25 years. Gone. Imagine what you could do with all that extra time. Learn multiple languages, start a business, travel to every state, watch every movie on your bucket list, spend more time with family, or maybe just finally clear your email inbox. But what if removing sleep didn't just give us more time? What if it completely changed what it means to be human? Because sleep isn't just an inconvenient biological requirement. It may be one of the reasons human civilization developed the way it did. And if humans had never needed sleep, the world you're living in right now might look completely different. The biggest productivity boom in human history. Let's start with the obvious question. How much extra time would we actually gain? Most adults require 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night. Remove sleep entirely, and suddenly every person gains roughly 3,000 extra waking hours every year. That's equivalent to adding nearly 4 extra months to every year of your life. Think about that. A 30-year-old American could effectively gain decades of additional waking experiences over the course of their lifetime. The effects would be immediate. Wall Street would never close. Silicon Valley engineers could code around the clock. Universities could offer classes at 3 a.m. Las Vegas would somehow become even more awake than it already is. New York City might truly become the city that never sleeps. Literally. Airports would operate at full capacity 24 hours a day. Factories would never shut down. Traffic jams could happen at midnight. Human civilization would become a continuous machine. And initially, that sounds incredible. Until you ask one uncomfortable question. If humans suddenly gained thousands of extra productive hours every year, would those hours actually belong to us? History suggests maybe not. The washing machine was supposed to save time. Email was supposed to save time. Smartphones were supposed to save time. Yet somehow most people still feel busier than ever. If sleep disappeared tomorrow, employers might simply expect more from us. A 40-hour work week could become a 60-hour work week. Competition would intensify. Productivity expectations would explode. And before long, humanity might discover something surprising. The biggest benefit of sleep wasn't rest. It was having an excuse to stop. But productivity isn't the real reason sleep exists. In fact, scientists still aren't entirely sure why we sleep at all. The mystery scientists still can't fully explain. Here's something fascinating. Despite centuries of research and decades of modern neuroscience, scientists still debate the ultimate purpose of sleep. They know what happens when we sleep, and they definitely know what happens when we don't. But exactly why evolution decided that humans should spend one-third of their lives unconscious remains one of biology's greatest mysteries. And honestly, sleep seems like a terrible survival strategy. Imagine you're an early human living 100,000 years ago. There are predators nearby, enemy tribes nearby, danger everywhere. And your evolutionary strategy is lie down, become unconscious, and hope nothing eats you for the next 8 hours. It sounds ridiculous, yet almost every animal on Earth sleeps. Why? One major explanation is maintenance. While you're asleep, your body isn't shutting down. It's actually working. Your immune system repairs damage. Your hormones rebalance themselves. Your memories are organized. Your emotions are processed. And perhaps most remarkably of all, your brain literally cleans itself. Scientists have discovered that during sleep, the brain's waste removal system becomes significantly more active, helping clear potentially harmful substances that accumulate during waking hours. In other words, every night your brain performs a full maintenance cycle. Imagine driving your car for years without ever changing the oil. Eventually, something breaks. Sleep may be the biological equivalent of preventive maintenance, which raises an interesting possibility. What if humans evolved to perform all of this maintenance while staying awake? As crazy as that sounds, Nature has already experimented with something surprisingly similar. The animals that almost beat sleep dolphins have a superpower. They can sleep with only half of their brain at a time. One side sleeps. The other side stays awake. This allows them to keep swimming, surface for air, and remain alert for predators. Some migratory birds can also enter brief periods of sleep while flying thousands of miles. Nature apparently hates wasting time. But here's the important part. No known complex animal has ever completely eliminated sleep. Not one. Which suggests something profound. Sleep may not be an evolutionary mistake. It may be one of evolution's greatest inventions. But let's imagine humans somehow pulled it off. No sleep, no fatigue, no bedtime. What would disappear first? Surprisingly, it might be something you value more than time itself. Your memories. The end of dreams. Every night, your brain performs an extraordinary task. It decides which experiences matter, which emotions should stay, which memories deserve to survive. Researchers believe that sleep, particularly REM sleep, plays an important role in memory consolidation and emotional processing. Think about your own life. Your first day of school, your favorite childhood vacation, your first heartbreak, your proudest accomplishment. Many of those memories may exist because your sleeping brain spent years carefully preserving them. Now imagine a species that never sleeps. Would they remember things differently? Would emotions feel weaker? Would creativity change? And then there's an even stranger question. Would humans still dream? Scientists still don't fully understand why we dream. But evidence suggests dreams may help regulate emotions, process experiences, and encourage creative thinking. Some famous discoveries and artistic ideas have reportedly been inspired by dreams. A world without sleep might become more productive. But it could also become less creative, less emotional, less imaginative. In some ways, less human. And that's when you realize something strange. Sleep doesn't just shape individuals. It shapes civilization itself, the world that never stops. Every society in human history has been built around one assumption. Eventually, everyone goes to sleep, businesses close, roads empty, lights turn off, cities become quiet. But remove sleep and all of that disappears. There is no day shift. There is no night shift. There is only one shift. Forever. The stock market could operate 24 hours a day. Scientific research would never pause. Streaming platforms would release shows at any hour. Black Friday shopping might literally never end. Human civilization would gain billions of additional productive hours every single day. Technological progress could accelerate dramatically. But there would be a cost. Human beings evolved around cycles, work and rest, light and darkness, activity and recovery. Remove those cycles, and we're entering territory no human species has ever experienced. Maybe we'd become wealthier. Maybe we'd become more advanced. Maybe we'd even colonize other planets faster. But would we become happier? That's much harder to answer. Because the biggest paradox of infinite time is that humans rarely know what to do with it. The paradox of never sleeping. Most people believe their biggest problem is not having enough time. More time to travel. More time with family. More time to learn. More time to live. So gaining an extra third of your life sounds like the ultimate gift. But history tells a different story. Whenever humans gain more time, we don't usually slow down. We speed up. We create new goals, new expectations, new pressures. And eventually, we forget what life was like before. If humans never needed sleep, we'd probably do exactly what we've always done. We'd fill every available moment, until one day, we'd realize something unexpected. Sleep was never stealing our lives. It was giving our lives structure. It forced us to pause, to disconnect, to rest, to accept that we couldn't do everything. And maybe that's why evolution never got rid of it. Not because sleep is efficient, but because being human was never meant to be efficient. So if humans never needed sleep, we might gain an extra third of our lives. But we might lose something far more important. The very thing that makes those lives feel human.